My name is Dr. Nathan Canaday. I'm a veterinarian. I'm also the horse division manager at the 4-6s Ranch, primarily based out of Guthrie, Texas, but we also have the 4-6s Granbury division as well. So we've been brainstorming for an incentive for quite a few years actually. And one of the main reasons we haven't released it previously is we want to do it right. And we've been developing a set of parameters to make sure this is good for everybody. Because when you stop and look at a lot of incentives, a lot of them really primarily benefit whoever is putting the incentive on. And we wanted something that benefited the stallion owners, the mare owners, the eventual foal owners that go on and train or sell these babies that we're producing. And so I wanted it to be a win-win for everybody. So obviously it took some time to think through all the scenarios, come up with some logistics, and all that sort of thing. So that was one aspect of what's taken so long to come to the table. And we didn't want to come prematurely and just be another incentive. We wanted to make sure we did it right. Also kind of timing-wise, it's been a dream of both mine and Taylor's to open a stallion station in the Weatherford area. That way it's closer to the heart of the performance horse world. And kind of the idea behind it is we wanted to create a stallion station that was truly a place where a stallion owner could showcase their stallion. They could bring friends, they could bring prospective mare owners to breed and be a place where they could show off their stallion. They could fellowship, they could entertain, and be something, on the level of like you see on the East Coast in Kentucky with the thoroughbreds. There's nothing like that in the quarter horse world. And we got such phenomenal athletes. They're so smart, they're so talented, and they needed a place to be showcased and to brag and just show off their accomplishments, both in the show pen and now in the breeding barn. And so a lot has come together over the past year to allow us to be able to open what we're calling 4-6s Granbury. And so because now we have 4-6s Granbury open, and now that we've taken years to marinate and massage on and developed this incentive program, we're now able to release to the public both our new stallion station that we're opening in the 2026 breeding season, as well as begin this incentive. So there's lots of aspects to this incentive that we really tried to look at it from multiple perspectives. So from the stallion perspective, there's so many incentives that usually in the fall when cash flow is low, you get hit with big $20,000 bills to enroll your stallion in an incentive. And I was going to say tough, but really brutal is the word to be a stallion owner right now, because you have to be in incentives and you have to be enrolled in this and that and promote and advertising, and it is a tough place to be a stallion owner. And so to have to pay up front big large chunks of money is tough. Whether you're having a good year or bad year, you still have to pay a large sum of money. And so also from the mare owner side of things, when you have a baby and you breed to a stud, if you want that baby to be eligible or enrolled in a program, you have to make payments. And so then you got to, a lot of them, commonly you have to make a payment when they're a weanling, when they're a yearling, a 2-year-old, and then sometimes, then their show year. And if you miss any of those, then you have to pay late fees. And that's a lot of logistics trying to keep up with a lot of that kind of stuff. And then whenever you're the third party over here and you want to buy a horse, half the time it is a feat to try to figure out where a horse is at in his payments and if it's enrolled or not enrolled. And so I wanted to avoid a lot of that kind of stuff. And so what we're doing is, in terms of the enrollment piece, money is coming both from the stud owner and from the mare owner. And so a portion of the money comes out of the breeding fee. And I've talked extensively with my stud owners, and none of them went up in the breeding fee just to make the mare owner have to pay both, because that is not fair, that's not cool, that's not how we operate. And so a portion of the money comes out of the stud owner's breeding fee, and that goes towards a pot. And then the matching portion comes from the mare owner at the time of breeding. And so whenever they go to breed to one of the studs, they pay the breeding fee, they pay the shoot fee, and then they pay an incentive fee. So for the most part, the fee is $250 for all the studs in Guthrie, and it's $250 for any junior studs. any senior studs that are at 4.6 at Granbury, for various reasons, but mostly because they're at that elite level, the enrollment fee is $500 from the stud and $500 from the mare side. And I also made it optional for our stallion owners, because at the ranch, you know, we've been around for 155 years, and we've been a breeding farm for 45 years, and we service a wide variety of stallion owners, and a lot of them are good ranchers, old timers, and they're not in the show pen, and I get that. And so for those kind of stallion owners, it was optional if they wanted to enroll or not enroll. I think 98% of our stallion owners opted to enroll because they see the benefit in this. Unfortunately, just because of, you know, you have to have parameters for this deal, the way we set it up, the mare owner has to pay in order to participate. But there's some benefits to that, and several of that is you don't have to make reminders and pay at weanling, yearling, 2-year-old, etc. And when you pay at the time of breeding, you know, say you have to do rebreeds and all that, you only have to pay that fee one time. But also, that foal is now enrolled in the program. So it doesn't matter how many times you sell it down the road, that foal is enrolled. You don't have to make any further payments. It's good to go. And we'll explain here in a minute the interim until that full crop that's bred in 26 gets to show age. We have some gap year type things. But in the future, it's just going to be, was he bred by a 4.6 stud? Yes, okay, you're in, because we know at the time of breeding money was put in. One thing that I do want to clarify, if a stud is enrolled, every breeding, the stud owner puts their matching portion in, and that includes us as the 4.6s. That also includes us as the 4.6s from the mare side. So whenever I'm breeding a ranch mare to a ranch stud, I'm paying both portions, because every foal is going to be eligible. So when we sell a foal down the road, it's already been paid into it. So I just wanted to be fully open on that piece. So it's best to explain it in that long term, we want to add money, add value to multiple areas and multiple disciplines. And I'm sure we'll talk more about that here in a minute. But right now, I think it's best to shoot a musket ball and make sure you're hitting the target before you start firing cannonballs, and then you realize you shot all your lead and you're out of money and and the thing didn't work. And because I'm all about innovating and future forward momentum and progress, but you have to do it right, and sometimes that means you have to step, walk, then run. And so to that end, we're starting with the cow horse and the cutting scene. In the cutting scene, that's the main area that we're focusing, yes, in terms of our dollars, but we're also very passionate about the cow horse folks. And so to start with, we're going to start making payments in this year's snaffle bit futurity. So the 2026 snaffle bit futurity will be the first year. And what I've decided to do in the gap year, to answer your question, we'll address the cow horse scene first, is if you breed them in 26, right, whenever those foals, they'll be born in 27, and then 28 yearling, they'll be showing in the snaffle bit of 29. Whenever they're that age group, then we know they're forward, any 4.6 horses will be ready to go. There wasn't a good way to make payments and that sort of thing, since we don't put that show on. And so just to kind of show our love to the cow horse folks, they don't have to pay any enrollment fees right now. So say somebody shows up on a bet, he's a cat, a Kit Kat Sugar, a Fiddle and Steel, one of the 4.6 stallions, when they show up at the snaffle bit futurity in the open class in 2026 here, they're going to be eligible for the money. We'll go more into the payments and how we pay out the pay scale here in a little bit. But so for the cow horse scene, from now until the horses bred in 26 are actually in it, there's actually no enrollment fees, and we're just trying to say thank you for being loyal breeders and customers of the 4.6s. On the cutting side, we acquired the Ike dates. So starting in January of 2027, we're going to start hosting a 4.6s cutting, and it'll be a full cutting. But the incentive is going to target the 4-year-old class, and all of that added money will be in the 4-year-old class. And so again, the end goal is in 2031, when all the horses bred in 26 are competing in the 4-year-old class, we just know the only way you can compete and get this added money is if you are bred by a 4/6 stud. In the interim, so in 2027, spring of 27, if you are riding a horse that is by one of the 4/6 stallions, then you just have to pay the $500 enrollment fee and you'll be eligible for the added money, the incentive money. If you're riding another horse, you can still participate for the added money, but you would have to pay the $500 enrollment and you would have to have a paid breeding for the coming year to one of the 4/6 stallions, any of the stallions that are in the roster, but you just have to have a paid breeding in addition to that. So for the cow horse payouts, we will pay out the top 10 horses that are by 4/6 stallions that are enrolled in the 4/6 incentive. Should we have a year where not all 10 are in the finals, that doesn't matter. Our goal is to pay the top 10 horses that are by 4/6 stallions, again, because our goal is to reward you for breeding to stallions at the 4/6s. So the way the payouts will work for the Winter Bash and the 4/6s incentive, again, is for the 4-year-old class, and will pay out in both the open, the non-pro, and the amateur. Of the money that we're paying out there, 50% of it will go to the open, 30% to the amateur, and 20% to the non-pro classes. In each of those categories, we'll pay out the top 10. And again, the ultimate goal come 2031 is that all 10 spots will be 4/6s bred stallions enrolled in the incentive. In the interim years, again, like we talked about, as long as you're eligible, meaning you paid the $500 and you have a paid breeding, then you'll be eligible for that money. But we'll pay out the top 10 in each of those categories. So with everything with this incentive, again, our goal is for it to be win-win-win for everybody. And we want to operate like everything we do at the 4/6s ranch with full openness and integrity and communication. So to that end, on the money side of things, my intent is for 100% of the money to be dedicated and go out. The 4/6s is not taking in money. We're not receiving any of this money. We're not getting rich off of this money. So worst case scenario, every year 90% of the money is getting paid out every year at the events. With that, so that's worst case scenario. I intend to keep making that actually get bigger and bigger every year. But to start with, we're going to do 4.5%, and that's the max number we would do just for the first couple years here for marketing. And then we're going to pay 2.5% to the NCHA because we want to make it where these payouts add to the lifetime earnings on these horses. And then we have 3% maximum number reserved for somebody to be the admin person. And what that is I'm going to have a separate designated person, not on the 4/6 staff, that's going to be available for questions. They're going to be on site at the shows, helping with the payouts, helping people with enrollment stuff, especially in these gap years. Somebody to help be there to assist you all through this whole process. Again, a lot depends on the money, but if the money comes in, that may actually be 2% or less kind of thing. So again, worst case scenario, 90% of the money, but all of it is going out because we want to use this incentive to give back to the industry, to give back to the stallion owners, the breeders, and again, make this a win-win for everybody. And in terms of what is going to be that amount, I get to ask that question of what we're going to pay out every year. That is going to depend on how much money comes in throughout the breeding season. And so the plan is at the end of every breeding season, we'll announce what the payouts are going to be that fall at the Snaffle Bit Futurity and then that coming spring for the Winter Bash. The way I always want to do things is one step at a time, make sure we do it right, make sure we're successful. Because one of the goals of this incentive is that it makes a splash in the industry. We want to give people who are breeding to 4/6 studs big checks, and we want it to be significant and very rewarding. And so to that end, we're going to start with focusing on the Snaffle Bit Futurity in the open class and the Winter Bash, the 4-year-old class, the open, the amateur, and the non-pro. But eventually we will grow this, and we may be able to, if in my dreams, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to grow this quickly and expand to additional classes and also to other disciplines. One of the things that's on my heart is to expand into the rope horse world. And so that probably will be coming. Also, partly with our connections with Taylor and the Run for a Million, it's likely that we may also roll out into the Run for a Million, because with that, we can not only target the cow horses and the cutters, but we can also add a cowboy class and a reining class. And so we can target multiple disciplines as well. So there are lots of things coming in the future. This is not the one and done wonder of this incentive. It will grow, it will expand, and as always, it'll be pushing the envelope for excellence.
Hi, I'm Spud Sheehan. I'm a professional cutting horse trainer and I work out of Bosque Ranch, and I'm very excited about the 4/6s incentive program that is going to be on offer in 2027, and I just think it can change the whole industry. I think the amount of money that's up, I'm very excited about it. So to me, I really like this incentive. I believe it was followed by the Millionaire deal, and I thought that was by far the best incentive we ever had, as far as the amount of money, the horses, that side of it. And I'm very excited, like with the studs that they have to offer here, how good they are. And just to have, we already have the futurity that's going to pay great, but to have this show that's going to pay probably even better than any of them, that's what I'm most excited about. So it's really cool that it pays out in the 4-year-old. We still can win a lot of money at the futurity, but the horses that are eligible for the winter bash has another futurity, so to speak, as what it's going to pay. And then not only does the owner get it, but the stallion owner gets, I believe, 20% of the winnings too. So I think that's very cool on looking after the stallion owners. All the money raised, a 90% payback is, to me, outstanding. So you're pretty much riding for all your money back. Stallion owners are going to receive their percentage too. So I think on what that will be, on what the winner's check will be from the winter bash, will be huge. This to me is designed more for the owners, more for the stallion owners. It's a one-time fee, so when you breed your mare, you don't have to keep up with it. It's not paying, you know, from a foal to a yearling to a 2-year-old to, you know, all the way up to a show horse. It's a one time and done. I just think it's very simple. I know everyone's going to get behind it. I know with the stallions behind it, to me, it's a great success story, I believe, for the future.